I'm Melinda Boring, and I am here today with Christine Field. She is a prolific author and a very experienced woman in the area of homeschooling and other fields we won't have time to get to today. We're going to focus on your book, Homeschooling the Challenging Child. And Christine, could you tell us a little bit about your homeschooling experience?
Sure. We have 4 kids and started homeschooling pretty much from the beginning with the oldest, and felt like it was a wonderful experience. My first 2 kids learned effortlessly. They were a joy to teach. We had no bumps in the road.
That's always nice.
Oh yes, and unusual, I understand. My 3rd child came around. She had pretty significant learning issues as well as attention issues, and it was such a smack upside the head to me, a little smack of reality to me, that it really kind of shattered our homeschooling confidence. And then we sort of had to regroup. We had to learn how to teach a different kind of a learner. We had to learn what motivates a different kind of a learner, how to discipline a different kind of a learner. And we learned so much along the way that we wanted to share it with other families.
I often share that my children have made me a better teacher than I wanted to have to be, and it sounds like that may be your experience as well.
Definitely, definitely.
Can you tell us a little bit about what led you to write this book?
Yes, well, when our 3rd child came along, beginning to homeschool her, we knew even when she was quite young that she was going to have issues with her learning. It was very difficult for her to concentrate. Things like lights or dust or snow would distract her. And in terms of the actual learning, her retention was so poor. She would read a word in one line and then forget what it was on the next line. So we knew something was up. Something's not right here. And had her evaluated and learned she's a pretty typical blend of LD ADHD. And I don't like labels, but labels can be an answer to a lot of questions. And I think you said labels are liberating, because they help you to explain something that you've struggled with for years and years trying to understand.
Exactly, Christine. And sometimes I think if we don't have official labels for our children, we find that they're being mislabeled by others as obstinate, disobedient, defiant, unwilling to learn, and we know in our hearts that's not true. So the beauty of an accurate label is it helps you find resources, it helps you connect with other people who are experiencing similar challenges, and with your daughter, you had multiple areas of challenge.
And the other good thing about a label is that it helps you to get past some of the behavior so that you can really get to the heart of your child. You can get to know that heart and encourage that heart. And a child is not just a bad behavior or a poor learner. That child has a special heart given to him or her by God, and they're here for a purpose. And that's what I find so exciting and liberating about homeschooling, is that we can go for that heart and not have to worry about other junk.
I really like when you shared that your children aren't trying to drive you crazy. And I've thought that before. This would be a good way if they were trying to drive me crazy, but I have to remember that's not what they're doing. They're being the individuals they are. They're doing what comes naturally.
Right.
And as children, they don't know that it's not that way for other people.
Right.
So I think that those challenges challenge us to expand our understanding, and homeschooling allows us to individualize and meet the needs that would be difficult to meet in a more public group setting.
Absolutely, it's a blessing.
Now tell us a little bit about the topics that you cover in your Homeschooling the Challenging Child book.
Well, when I take on a new book project, I like to do surveys. I like to survey women around the country about the issues that they're experiencing. And as I was sending out surveys for this one, there were 5 things that kept coming up repeatedly in the surveys about what would make a child challenging to a parent. And those were learning disabilities, attention issues, a mismatch of learning style, personality clashes. You know, if you're a sanguine and your daughter's a phlegmatic, and you're like this and she's you're going to have those challenges. And then the 5th thing was discipline issues. How do you discipline a child who is a little different? Because the regular discipline techniques don't work with ADHD children or learning disabled children, because different things work in their brains that don't work for neurotypical kids.
And even within the same family, you find that some things that work very effectively with some of your children did not work with this particular child. And in some cases, we may have 1 or 2 of those areas of challenge in some cases we might have all of those areas of challenge. So it sounds like your book could speak to one or two of those issues or all of those issues as a resource.
And I think what really motivated me was when we first began having difficulty with our kids was I wanted that big picture. You know, I would read a book about ADHD, I'd read a book about learning difficulties, and I wanted the big picture. What are the potential things that I can identify that are going on here? And so my prayer in writing this book was that it would help to provide that big picture to some parents who could then go on and further research the area that they've identified that they're dealing with. So it's really a stepping stone.
And again, even within the label gives you a general umbrella idea, but then you have to still ferret out those specific things that apply to your child.
Is it a visual disorder? Is it an auditory disorder? You still have to do a lot of studying of your own child.
Well, having read your book and highlighted and post-it noted all over your book, I know that this is the kind of book that you will read through and be encouraged that you're not alone, and there are some very practical and specific things that you can be doing to help your child, but also it's the kind of book that you can come back to just for specific chapters over and over and use it as an ongoing reference, resource, and really a bolster to your confidence if you wonder, can I really homeschool a child with all of these needs? And I think both of us would say, beyond the shadow of a doubt, yes, you can. Will it be easy, Christine?
Absolutely
no. Is it worth it?
Absolutely worth it. And is it the best thing for your child? And I'm convinced that it is because of the individual attention, the lack of stigma, and the acceptance that you can give that child so that they can learn to grow and realize that they are a magnificent creature of God made for a purpose.
And I really feel like with our children that have these struggles, when we homeschool them, we can help them get a balanced view of themselves. Their struggles are obvious, but in homeschooling, we also have the opportunity to build into them their strengths and to remind them, you're really good at this, you're very creative, you have a kind heart, and the things that we can build in to balance some of those struggles that they have so that they have an accurate view of themselves as adults as people who have something to offer, as well as people who have struggles in some areas. And I think our kids realize everybody struggles in some areas. Mine just happen to be more visible and obvious.
We have strengths and we have weaknesses. Now you have to promise me you're going to come by and see my daughter's drawings at the student fair, because this same daughter that I've been discussing is a fabulous artist. And we talk about that a lot, how I can't dance ballet, but I can write. She's a fabulous artist. She may have weaknesses in other areas. It's just how God has wired her and how God has gifted her, and what's she going to do with it.
You're exactly right. In all those years that my son was staring out the window and I would say, Josh, get back to work, Josh, get back to work, I would still have him pack a cooler over my trying to fit things in the right spaces. And today he's writing science fiction novels, and I say, go ahead and stare out the window, Josh, because he's coming up with book ideas.
Exciting.
So Christine, I know you have other books and you have other resources as well. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you and find out more about all the many things that you have to offer?
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. We're redoing our website. It's at HomeFieldAdvantage.org. And you're right, I've written a number of books. I'm involved in some legal ministries to Christians, and just a very exciting time in my life, and I am blessed to be where I am.
I encourage you to check out Christine's website and all of the many resources that are there. And thank you for being here today, Christine. It's been great talking with you.
Thank you. God bless your work.